The character in the car, he comes across as very exhausted. I think the self-loathing is real too.
I would disagree.
We're gonna disagree a lot today.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree.
You're gonna build me up. I'm gonna keep bringing myself down.
It's quite true. There is quite a bit of douchebag ridiculousness at Burning Man.
I'm sure that you did it from a place of genuineness and one with...
So you would go?
No, whenever, I like to take showers. I'm a strong believer that it is the illusion of choice that we have. Assuming you're someone that is setting out to have a monogamous relationship, if you want to be with one person, till death do us part. If you go out with 100 people, 99 will not be for you. You haven't expanded your options, you've expanded the amount of people with which it won't work. Everyone else along the way wasn't an option, it was an obstacle. No, I don't believe in soulmates. No, I believe that it's a matter of choice, which is precisely why...
Who's this Sophia girl anyway?
Oh.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
How has fame treated you since you've been famous now for, what, 5 months?
I don't know if I'm famous. Maybe by...
You have more followers than I do.
Oh, that's
and I started my career when I was 14. And I always say that fame's like in the eye of the beholder, so like I think you're famous. You generated a massive amount of following in a really short amount of time, which means that it's resonating with people.
That last part I agree with for sure. There's something that I'm doing that is definitely resonating with people. I guess I just don't identify as famous because it's happened so quickly. And a part of me still, maybe I'm aging myself here, because I think Gen Z would think I'm famous much more than maybe my father would. Because I still have a vision of fame as the people you see in the movies, the people you see driving the race cars. But I'm just a guy who went viral on his phone and in his car, but I guess that's a new sort of fame now. Because people are watching their phones more than they're watching their TV screens anyway.
That's true.
Because I haven't internalized that I am famous, I still dispute that I am, even after everything you just said, I still dispute it. And I think that's how it's been. I'm not yet seeing it that way, and so it's had no effect on me whatsoever.
Really?
I don't even think about it. I'm still doing the same old things. I'm still hanging out with my friends at the diner.
You really do that too?
Yeah, Stella brings the coffee. She says, "How you doing, hun?" She doesn't even know I have a TikTok. It's fine. And that's it. But once in a while, somebody will run into me. There's that recognition, or sometimes they flat out say, "Hello, I saw your video." But really, it hasn't been too troublesome at all.
Has it felt vulnerable?
Not yet, but I think it's getting there because of the audiobook and because of the live events that are coming soon.
You're doing live events now too?
Oh, I am.
Stop it! You are on an Elon rocket ship to Mars.
I don't know what's going on, and none of us seem to know what's going on because we announced the live event and it sold out in an hour.
Okay, well, what's in the live event then? I mean, like, are you gonna sit in a car and
No.
Is it like a car set? It's got to be a car set. Come on, man.
Either that or a diner set. One of those. It's a good
Fair.
idea. If I ever have a podcast, I'll be in a car or in a diner. But no, the live event is just me on a stage, and it's gonna be somewhat monologue, somewhat of a book reading. Then there's gonna be some questions and answers. So it's gonna be an interactive kind of one-man show with different components to it. And we immediately had to look to getting a bigger venue, then multiple dates because we had no idea that it was going to sell out that fast.
99% women.
99% women. We need security now. I have no security staff.
For you.
I'm going to get my people from Jersey City to just be the security staff. The vulnerability is coming, having to come out of the car. Because in the car, there's a safety there that, this is resonating with you. The safety in the car.
No, I just like come out of the closet. You said come out of the car.
No,
it's like
there's no closet. No, straight as an arrow. Coming out of the car is going to be different for me because you're in control of the setting. You're by yourself. Nobody's watching you.
It does feel very private to be in your car.
Super
like
private.
To just sit there and finish your call or do whatever. Just like slouch down and just not go into work yet.
100%. And there goes the irony of me saying, and no one's watching you. But from that car, millions of people have watched me. But there's something about no one being there in the moment
100%.
that makes it feel safe and easy. But I know that the live show will feel different.
Yeah.
and we'll see how I do. I don't know.
What do you feel like you're an expert to speak on? Because the thing that'll happen there is like people are going to be asking questions of you for, they're going to want, they're wanting your expertise on some things. So like what do you feel like you can speak to with the most amount of experienced conviction and confidence?
The character in the car that is not entirely a caricature. There are parts of my true self in that as well.
It's so funny to hear your voice in real life when I've heard it on my phone so many times.
Yeah. So you're welcome.
Keep going. Sorry.
So he comes across as very exhausted and
Totally.
and just saying what's on his mind, and he doesn't position himself as an expert in anything.
Right.
And the real me doesn't either. I don't consider myself a guru, although people now come to my page for help, for leading, for direction, and which is very dangerous. Don't follow me. But so I would say that I'm much more of just an observational storyteller than I am an analyst or an expert in anything. I like the analogy of the color commentary versus the play-by-play. I'm not the guy who's the retired NFL player who knows all the ins and outs, the X's and O's, and is explaining what's happening and what it means. I'm just the play-by-play guy. I'm just saying, this is what happened, this is what's going down. I have no opinion on this whatsoever. That's what I would say I identify more so as, the observationist, the commentator, rather than the analyst or the expert.
I would disagree.
We're going to disagree a lot today.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree.
You're going to build me up. I'm going to keep bringing myself down.
I'm going to disagree because it can't resonate in the way that it has unless it's real. Like, unless there's something there.
Yeah, well, I think the self-loathing is real too. And people resonate with the humility in that. I'm not pretending to be that tired and that confused. I am in fact those things, but I agree with you. Certainly the brand, if anything, is relatability. But within that relatability also seems to come out some sort of wisdom.
Right. That
people like and want to hear more of. Where that wisdom comes from and how I feel about it, I don't know. I don't know. Because again, I would not say that I'm that wise, but this is just my self-deprecating humor is in fact a reality.
You know, the thing about your message and your videos and your humor and is that it's like there's like an old school throwback feel to it of like, where the fuck have we gone? Like, can't we just like get back to like the good old days in a way of like where women are treated well and men do this and you open the door and why are you know, like I think that's also what resonates so much with women too, is there's been this like, I feel like culture is like generally meandered and lost its way and split off into wild directions of like how dating goes and relationships, and it's just like I feel like we're figuring out that it's not working. And it's like, look, marriage has never had a wildly high success rate, but I feel like there's at least like not enough happiness and joy. And, you know, you're like reminding us that like, no, like the old way of doing things is not bad. And why do we want to do it this new crazy way? And I'm kind of paraphrasing down to like maybe how I'm taking it. I feel like that's got to be resonating with a lot of women.
I agree with that. I think that what our generation is discovering is that it's difficult to sift away the good from the bad. And so when we took our traditions or old school values and we tried to take away the bad parts, we ended up just throwing it all away.
Yeah. We threw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, so now we're in a recovery stage. Now I think that our generation will also be the generation, and those after, that will try to find a way at last to keep all the good and not throw it all away. Mm-hmm. And people are, from what I can tell from the ground, since I'm ground zero. I'm getting all the comments. I'm the one in this space. I rarely see commentary that opposes what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, eventually the haters will come. It's the internet. And once in a
only
while.
get stronger for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, and once in a while somebody says something, but it's so few and far between that I just get the sense that there is this general malaise with the way things have panned out. And we're now trying to find our way back in a way that makes sense. You know, we don't want to lose the things that we've gained that are good. From the women that I see in the comments, there's such a desperation for strong men, chivalrous men, responsible men, men that put clothes on rather than just going out with their sweatsuits.
And their Crocs.
And their Crocs. And their slides with the socks. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that will play out, but I definitely see the desire for it in the comments and in the reactions that I get every day from the videos.
But like, what do you have against Burning Man?
So after we connected, I then did some research and I discovered that you are a
burner.
A burner.
Yes, that's what it's called.
So listen, I amend my views as I go, but no, you know what? That perspective was again,
awesome, and accurate,
hilarious. But a lot of times, another part of me that advises me and that creates the character and the humor is the blue-collar, working-class, tenement, Jersey City, factory background.
Yeah, because you look like you're about to get ready to go into a desk job or like a, flipping burgers or, just some like awful, and you're a lawyer, so.
Yeah, so this is multifaceted. Multiple personality, perhaps, but it's definitely multi-something. I contain multitudes, as our great American poet Walt Whitman said. And I think we all do.
We all do.
But the part of me that still belongs to the inner city, nobody that I know goes to Burning Man. I mean, there's a particular fragment of the population that
Don't worry,
does those
nobody
things.
I know goes either. So,
so
finding people that want to go with me is like, there's about 2.
Yeah, and my father doesn't even know what Burning Man is. So, and these are my people. So that particular joke was an ode to, inner city or even just working class America. I mean, even you could be from the countryside and still share the values of somebody who's born and raised in Brooklyn. Yeah, and again, these are the things that connect people.
Yeah.
And so in the videos, I think there's a coming together of people from everywhere, and I don't know who my audience is. My audience can be a highly educated woman from a Seattle suburb, or it could be an inner city working class man. So so I find that, or a burner
who just loves that you called out the bullshit and said the things, because it's quite true. There is quite a bit of douchebag ridiculousness at Burning Man.
I'm sure that you did it from a place of authenticity and genuineness, and one with.
I'm sure that's one of the
earth
parts of my personality. Yeah. So you would go?
No. No, I would never. I like to take showers. I want to have my things. I don't do that. I don't do
you
these
just
things.
seem like you're a fairly clean kind of.
Oh, I'm so clean.
So clean.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then next up is like, who's this Sophia girl anyway?
Oh, so someone read my book or listened to it. It's just an audiobook for now.
Exactly.
It will be printed shortly. I can guarantee it.
Photos included?
No.
We want to see this girl.
Well, so I think it's too early in my book tour to reveal what is true and what is not. I know that people are reading it as a memoir of sorts. I think it's a loosely autobiographical fiction novel, which is to say, that it's like every novel ever written. Because
Right.
I mean, when Hemingway wrote a novel, he was extracting from his life. Even if you can make up a story, but there are still your experiences inform your writing, your observations, the things you've gone through in the world. So the women that I describe in that novel are partly fiction and partly fact.
What do you change out the most to ensure sort of some level of privacy, but also don't let the truth get in the way of a good story?
Anyone who knows me intimately knows every single character in that book.
Okay.
Which goes to say that
Them
I
too.
did not do a good job of preserving identity.
Have you heard from the women that have, because I'm also thinking to myself as I'm listening through, and I haven't listened to the whole thing, but I've listened to about a third of it or so. I feel like you love women. Like, I feel like you fall in love with women very easily. Like, there's a lot of, and either maybe that's the romantic in you, or that maybe, yeah, I don't know, you're able to see the good in so many, or I don't know what it is.
Well, the character in the book loved a lot of women. Again, the character is a fictitious character.
Well, according to the
me.
book, Sophia is really the only one that you've really loved, it feels like, at this point.
Oh, it's hard to say. You know what I think? I think what
Other than the Egyptian woman.
I think that what I'm doing in the book, and again, I don't know if I'm equipped to analyze the book. Maybe we have to get. I wish we could resurrect Harold Bloom, who was this great literary critic, and we can tell us what he thinks of the book. But I think what I'm describing in the book is the reality that so many people can fit in one human heart. And so there's this great line in Love in the Time of Cholera from one of my favorite novelists, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Colombian author.
Say it again. Just kidding.
Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I looked at the camera for that one. Those are for the
You're good. You've been practicing. What's this like?
That's for the Latinas in New York. We'll go to Washington Heights to dance a little bachata. So he says there's a moment in the novel where the main character, in a fit of rage against himself for discovering that he loves one woman, but he also has these feelings for another woman, he says, "My heart has more rooms than a whorehouse." And I love that line to describe that there's so many love stories that can fit in one heart, and I don't think it is controversial to consider the possibility that Dante in the book could love multiple women in one lifetime. In fact, in the book, I would say there's never any moment where he's loving multiple women at once. So it's really not controversial because I mean we've all, I think, if we live long enough, loved more than one person.
For sure.
And I think that one way that I do identify with the character in the novel is certainly a love for women, but I mean that love extends to all things. I think I just romanticize everything. I think I find the beauty in everything, and so even if we want to reduce it to women specifically, you can find something lovely about anyone. There's a reason to fall in love with anyone.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what the book also does. It shows this character loving different women for different reasons in different moments of his life. The reception I've gotten so far has been incredible. You always get women identifying to different characters in the novel. Like, oh, I really identified with chapter 8, or I really identified with chapter 5. And I did. I tried to describe as many different kinds of women as I could, whatever that even means. A mother, a young woman, a very wealthy woman, a widow. There's a widow in there. I mean, I try to just reach as many different facets of human identity and experience, exactly to get this reaction, which is that everyone finds themselves somewhere in the book. And I think that's the same thing I do in the videos. I think that everyone can find themselves somewhere in the videos, because at the end of the day, we are connected by far more than separates us.
So you got a little spiritual side to you.
Oh,
really? Wow, so you might like Burning Man, actually, then.
No, I don't know. But there's this great line that I love from James Baldwin in the story Sonny's Blues, where he says, paraphrasing, perhaps, maybe I'll get it right, that while the tale of how we suffer and how we may triumph is never new, it's the only tale we have to tell. It's the only light we've got in all this darkness. And what he's saying is that all of our lives, if you strip away the details, well, I'm from Italy, or I'm from Alabama, and I'm 5'7", or I'm 6 foot. All these ways in which we appear different, but when you strip that all away, we're all having the human experience. Mm-hmm. I think that's what I try to capture in a funny way in the content, and I try to capture in a more serious, hopefully, and more poetic, if I dare say, way in the novel. But ultimately, that's what it is. It's I'm constantly putting a light on the ways in which we are all the same.
Yeah.
We're all having the same exact experience to some extent.
I love that, and I think that's true. But the question I was thinking of actually pulls it back in the other direction of seeing yourself, because I have this theory that we never actually see ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And that the only way we do is in relationship to everything around us, especially people, and especially relationships, right? And I feel like that kind of shows you the most about yourself. I mean, friends do too, and family, but like everybody around you is the mirror, right? If I'm looking and I think, and I'm judging something, I'm probably something inside of myself that I need to look at within myself, or something I love about you. It's probably something that I value very highly about myself. Like, what would you say, because you said it from the very beginning, you're an observer, like you're observing these situations and kind of doing the play-by-play on them. So what do you feel like you've learned about yourself through the mirror of all of these people and these, because you write about them so well. So what do you feel like you've seen about yourself in this dynamic?
I don't know if I'm answering the question correctly, but the main thing I've noticed about myself during this process is that I have very strong opinions. I think I'm right every time I speak. Otherwise, I wouldn't. Whoever really speaks thinking they're wrong, right? So I think I have a tremendous confidence in my beliefs. And that's what I've learned about myself. So in all the ways that I am, like all of us, someone who also contains some insecurities or some weaknesses or some fragilities, I think what I've discovered through the ease and comfort with which I put out these videos is that I have a lot of confidence in my thoughts.
Yeah.
I believe in myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's that come from? What were your parents like?
Oh, my parents. So my mother is...
Are they still alive? Are they married?
Yes, they're alive and married. My mother is a very religious woman. I grew up just hearing her pray. There was a sound of prayer in the house at all times. Wow. Then on my father's side, my grandfather, who I never met, he died the year I was born. My father's father was a preacher. My father, in his own way, is a very interesting man and a very polarizing man. And the way that my best friend once described him, I thought was perfect. He said, if your father was born in another era, like in antiquity or something, he would have been a leader of men. He would have in some way been a general in a Roman legion or something, because there's something about him that is very captivating, and you just listen to when he speaks.
I mean...
Yeah. So I think that, when you take into account my proximity to preachers and then my father.
Sure. Take that, that authority that you feel and pair that with conviction
Yes,
forget it.
We as a family strongly believe in the things we believe in. In fact, we all became lawyers. So my older brother is a lawyer. My father became a lawyer later in life, and then we kind of followed suit after him. So I come from a family of people who state their thoughts, whether it be from a pulpit or in a courtroom or in a video in a car, or now, here with you. But
you're an incredible writer is what I feel like I'm really understanding. Like, you're a lawyer, sure, but you seem like you're a writer. Like, I see the ability to write a screenplay or to do any, like, you could probably act it as well, but I think that your strength is in the storytelling.
thank
Is
you.
this like a discovery, or, because obviously, I mean, I don't know how authentic these letters that were never sent, as the audiobook is called. I don't know how far they track back, actually, right, in the truth of the story or not. But clearly, there's this storytelling element and this observer of you, and I feel like you've like wildly stepped into what you're meant to do.
Well, thank you for saying that. So, first of all, yes, I've always loved writing. I've always loved storytelling. I've always loved reading. I always loved to entertain. So, once this whole virality explosion took place, what a lot of my family members pointed out was, this is not surprising to us because this is just a return to who you were as a kid. When I went to law school and then became a lawyer, I kind of repressed myself a bit. I became quieter and more to myself, and I stopped doing things that I loved to do before that. And I think that now, thanks to this social media miracle, it's actually allowed me to become who I was. I've been writing this book easily since 2011 because the book is really an extraction from emails that I sent to friends. So me and two other friends, three of us, have this email chain that dates back to 2011. When I wanted to put a book together, I realized I had so much material already prepared. So I went back to my emails, extracted all of the golden nuggets, and took a lot of it from there. And then I also wrote a lot of new material or just found ways to put it together into a story. But really, the book is a product of this group diary. So it is in part a piece of writing that I've been working on for most of my adult life.
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, it's like, I keep thinking that there's so many questions about, because you feel like you talk about, like, human dynamics and relationships and, ethics and romance and all of this different stuff. But it's like, it's really, you're like a writer. Like, I just think that's your thing. Like, I want to ask you about relationships and, how that all works. But, like, do you think that I'd be asking about exactly what I should be? What do you think that I would be asking about the area that you would be able to feel? I know you have a lot of confidence with everything, but are those the right questions to ask?
I think there's nothing wrong with those questions because those are the things I write about.
Right.
And so if I am in fact a writer, which I hope that I am, these are the stories I tell. These are the things I write about.
Yeah.
So I think it's still worthwhile to ask me. If you'd like to ask me some things about relationships, I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm just now beginning to put them out into the world.
What do you have the most fun talking about? What do you have the most fun talking about?
Probably exactly what I talk about in the videos.
Yeah.
I think I enjoy talking about relationships. I think I enjoy talking about dating, about the dynamics between men and women.
Totally. Everybody's I mean, that's like an area of fascination for everyone, I think, because relationships essentially is what really rules our happiness. It's sort of something that we're always seeking. I mean, of course, the intimate one for sure, but other ones too. Like relationships are foundational. I mean, when you research any blue zone, it's like the relationships in the community around you that really is like what creates this longevity within people, and we're living in a culture, and maybe this is actually part of what is grabbing for people, is that we're living in a society where families are very split apart. You know, you have your couple people maybe, but like there's not this community aspect, and maybe there's like an inherent subconscious awareness that we want to return back to that place where we do go down to the diner and we see our Stella for the coffee, and we see our normal people just sitting at their normal booth, right? There's like, they have their seats, and we want that kind of familiarity back. We want the Cheers atmosphere where you go to the bar,
Yes.
and you know, and we've lost so much of that. There's almost so many options nowadays, and I wonder if that's what people are feeling in their bones when they listen to you.
I hope that's what they're feeling when they listen to me, because I would love to provide that sense of community, because I think that that's exactly what's missing. And this takes us back to something we discussed earlier, which is that we threw so much good away in the pursuit of whatever it is that we're doing now, in the pursuit of individualism, in the pursuit of modernity. I think that the most obvious thing we threw away was community. And in fact, now there's a term for everything, because people are so hungry for what they lost. I've heard it called third spaces, I think it's called. Like,
What's that?
We used to have these third spaces. So before it was home, work, and then you had, you know, the bar.
The bar, the diner.
Or most obviously, the church or the synagogue.
Right.
And now we're trying to find so many ways to reconstruct that. I just still go to church. You know what I mean? Like, I think that some things, I think we're discovering, and we may discover the hard way, that some things are irreplaceable. That some things cannot be altered to adapt our worldview. There used to just be, across cultures and across countries and across time, there wasn't my worldview, there was our worldview. We shared values. Everybody kind of lived the same way. You know, everybody had, just to an extent, the same family values, the same community values. And what do people always say when they move into a new city or a neighborhood in a city? Oh, you know, I just wish there was more sense of community.
Sure.
And what you don't realize is that there were communities there, and then they just dispersed because our generation wanted to. Well, I want to figure out what it's like to live there, and I want this out of life, and I want that out of life.
Get away from mom and dad. I can't wait to leave. You know.
But I grew up in one such community. I mean, these places used to exist, and it was only yesterday. I'm not that old. And I mean, I grew up in.
You're not that old.
Exactly. So we lost so much in such little time. Is I think the point of that.
Yeah.
I grew up in an apartment building, because I'm from a section of Jersey City where it's just apartment buildings. These were like the tenements in the factory neighborhoods. In fact, both of my grandparents worked in factories, and in my apartment building, out of 9 apartments, I think 6 were family growing up. And so, yeah, you know, great-grandmother in one apartment, grandmother in another apartment, us in one apartment, uncle in another apartment, another uncle. So, you know, and you walked outside and everybody knew everybody and kids were still playing. I have this great image burned into my memory because, and I'm always sad that we didn't have cell phones at the time, if only for the pictures. I have no pictures growing up playing outside.
Yeah, right.
And there's this great picture in my mind, though. So I grew up in this, and this is so romantic. This is how I romanticize life. So I grew up in a dead end.
Cul-de-sac. Come on, give it a nice
No.
name.
No.
Not dead end. It's really a dead end.
It was a dead end, broken asphalt, abandoned factories, and then at the very end of the dead end were the literal train tracks. So it wasn't just a metaphor.
Okay.
It was on the other side of the tracks. And you had the PATH train and the freight train going by. The PATH train is the train that takes you from New Jersey into New York City, which also I think has a metaphorical component. I was so separate from that place where the magic is and where the money is and where people have suitcases and suits and ties. And instead, here I was, and I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s. This was post so-called white flight inner city America, because in the 70s and the 80s, white folks moved on to the suburbs, and so the neighborhood I grew up in used to be a little Italy, and this happens everywhere, even in New York City.
Sure.
You know, Bensonhurst now is not Bensonhurst 1960, 1970, 1980. Little Italy is just a shell of itself because people moved on, right? And the same thing happened in Jersey City. So me and my brother were the only so-called white children in the neighborhood. We were kind of left behind, the vestiges of Little Italy. And I always have this image that we used to play baseball in this dead end. There was no Little League. There was no manicured little grass and sand lot. This is a New York City sand lot.
Sure.
It was broken asphalt, weeds, abandoned needles, broken window factories, and then a home run fence was the train track fence. And I just someday I want a movie to start with that scene of these kids playing baseball. The camera's behind home plate, and you're looking out here, and I don't know, maybe that's my next novel.
I was just going to say, well, this is the start of a screenplay.
And yeah, so but within that, even that is better than not having community. You know, we grew up in a way where everybody knew everybody was friends, everybody was connected. You didn't feel alone. You didn't feel like you were just out there on your own. And I think that that's missing terribly now.
I mean, with anxiety and depression being at an all-time high across, especially in younger generations, that makes sense. Where did we lose it? What do you think tore the families apart the most? Like, let's look at even work. Like, what did work become? Like, where did work go wrong, perhaps?
Our careers became such an integral part of our identity. Like, I need to succeed at my job to find value and meaning. And that's because, in large part, we were no longer finding value and meaning in the things that we found value and meaning in for centuries.
Right.
I mean, we are, my generation is a product of what I consider to be a social experiment. I mean, because we're doing something so differently than people did for thousands of years. Like, the world changed more because of even technology and everything else. The world changes more in 10 years now than it used to change for hundreds of years. So in other words, if you were born in ancient Rome and if you were born in the Renaissance, the fastest mode of travel was the horse. So for 1,500 years, the world didn't change.
Wow.
Costumes, maybe a little bit of technology, but the speed of life was the same for millennia. So we're not used to this. We're not prepared for this.
Yeah, we see the Waymos driving around with no drivers, and I mean, this obviously hurts my heart just a little bit because that's what I do and did. Yeah. But I'm like, holy shit, we're almost to the Jetsons.
Yeah. I think we were so anxious to change things that needed to be changed that we changed too much too fast. And I don't think human beings have evolved to live in such a fast-paced change. And in fact, so our generation is a bit of a lost generation. We're kind of torn, but we're torn between time. And I think we're trying to find our way.
I feel like it's almost a split. I mean, again, this goes a little bit more of a woo-woo route of thought, but like a split between, like, in the spiritual community, be like 3D, 5D, kind of like, are you going to stay in the old ways? Are you going to go to the new ways? And I feel like that could almost be looked at as, like, when you look at AI and you look at machines and you look at computers and algorithms and phones and all that, like, even like a robot or AI can only have the information that we provided as human beings. And I think that a human is going to always be more technologically advanced than a computer. Now, we don't get to put it all into one place, right? But we as human beings are connected to the field that has infinite information if we can learn how to tap into that and know it. But like the 3D almost feels like it'll stay in that like binary zone of like data, where the other one is where we get more in touch with our feelings and our bodies and intuition, and almost like remember our psychic skills. And like it almost feels like a split of like, which way are you going to go? And it feels like the robot direction is also like the followers of the world, right? And the other is kind of more openness, independent thinking, autonomy, sovereignty, and like it's like a split. It's like it almost feels like a split, and they do say that in the sort of spiritual circles where there will be that. And it almost feels like that because it feels so dramatic now, doesn't it? It feels so dramatic between, you know, and I think obviously COVID did that, and politics are doing that more now, but it's just like glaringly obvious the difference between, you know, someone that is trying to do good things and, helping people and the one that's just screaming with blue hair.
Yeah, yeah. I am committed in the fight between the old way and the new way. I am committed to the old way. Of course, what I mean by that is all that was good in the old way. And as you opened up our conversation, I have seen very little pushback in the comments in my videos, and all I'm ever talking about is the old way. And it could be a funny video about family or work or friends or relationships, romantic relationships, but ultimately I'm always just commenting on how ridiculous this all is now.
Yeah.
And so inherent to that analysis is a support for another way, and I like the old way.
It comes from when people make certain things cool. Like kind of like, I mean, I was very involved with the last election, and I campaigned for the president, and you know, we made being Republican cool again. Like there was enough people involved, enough personalities that it's like we made it cool again. And it's like I
definitely
feel like
galvanized young voters.
Right.
So
and
young people seem to at least suggest with their vote that they were attracted to some of these values.
Yeah. And I feel like your role, or a role, an aspect, is like you can go, you have a voice and people listen to you, and you do have that authority behind what you say, as well as you make it funny and you make it relatable and self-deprecating and all those things that draw people in. You can make traditional values cool again. Right?
Yeah, I agree. And again, I think that the character is apolitical, but his values are clearly traditional.
Yeah.
And I think that there is support for what I say in those videos from all sides, which seems to suggest that deep down there is a majority out there that, at least when it comes to these life values, agrees that this is a good way. Mm-hmm. It's good to care. Mm-hmm. It's good to love well. It's good to be responsible. It's good to be kind to each other. It's good to help, to be productive. This approach to life of nonchalance and nothing matters and I do whatever I want. It is a fad, I think. As you said, I think it's a fad, and I sense that it's breaking.
Yeah.
I think that the business of caring is returning. I think it's no longer cool to not care, to be, again, like I said, nonchalant, to
you can't build anything from that place.
Yeah.
You can't build anything. You won't have a family. That generation will be gone. I think like Charlie Kirk was one of those people that said that sort of thing is like, you know, essentially you know, we're that one generation away, where, you know, just give good values to the kids now. And like, if the people who think in these wild and weird, non-productive, non-building kind of ways, that don't appreciate beauty, and they tear things down instead of build things up, like it's not sustainable, and they will phase out, and then there will be a whole new culture of conservatives and people with those conservative values out there, because, like, you know, they're not building anything. I think that's very true.
Yeah, I talk about this with my friends at the diner. I don't know what's being taught in schools anymore, because I'm not in it. There's an extent to which I sense the classics are being thrown aside. And again, we can take that as a metaphor for everything else that we've been discussing. I don't care that Shakespeare was born 500, 600 years ago, whatever it was. Like, there is going to be a timeless value in what he wrote forever. And there is this suggestion now, I think, particularly when it comes to the arts, which is something that I care about, that, you know, if you're not a Norwegian, Panamanian Eskimo who is a goat herder, but also a concert pianist, you can't write a novel that is worthwhile. And I think, again, James Baldwin, like I said earlier, who was, at the time, he was a figure in the civil rights movement. He was from Harlem. He was homosexual. He was black. And yet he says in his story, Sonny's Blues, that we all share the same story. And you can't tell me that there's someone better equipped now to describe betrayal, jealousy, love, passion, death, philosophy, mortality, fatherhood, motherhood, childhood, than Shakespeare already did. And it doesn't matter that he was just some Englishman in whatever century he was born in, because there is only one tale to tell, and it is the tale that we all share. And so, yes, I think that we need to be very careful to wipe away all that we have created. I mean, I'm Italian, so I
couldn't tell.
Yeah. My father used to say to us when we were growing up, imagine you're a little 7-year-old kid, talk about anxiety. He would say, remember, you are a child of the Renaissance. I'm 6, 7 years old. I didn't really know what that meant then, but I know now. I know now that I have a tremendous cultural heritage. I envy no one. I mean, with all due respect. I mean everyone has
Not
value.
Even my car in the parking lot?
Well, especially your car. That's a work of art of my people. But
it is. Gotta love Italy.
I mean,
I do love Italy.
I mean, I have such a rich cultural heritage. And when I imagine the prospects of destroying that for something new, like if someone were to propose that to me, I would fight against that very strongly. I would say, no, we're going to keep the Colosseum. We're going to keep the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah. We're
going to keep Dante, not the one in my book, but the original Dante.
Yeah, I was like, you do refer to yourself as Dante in the book, right?
Well, so a little literary.
Which I was a little confused. I was like, did I hear that wrong? I know his name is not David. Clearly is Davide.
A little literary criticism. The two people having a conversation in the book, the two friends are Dante and William. Oh. So the master of the Italian language, the master of the English, my two languages, and they're having a conversation. But in any sense, so you can say, yes, so there's a love for the classics even in the book.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the naming of characters. But yeah, I think that there is so much about where we've come from that is so incredibly valuable and is worth saving and loving and teaching and embodying as we go forward.
Do you think that it takes some level of complacency though, to be in that place where one town is enough, my friends, these, you know, as you say, like these 13 options of women is enough? Does it take some level of complacency, do you think, or to be sheltered? Because when people are given options, it becomes so tempting, whether it's, you know, a dating app or going to the bar or, you know, traveling to go here and see this and adventure the world. Like, there's so many options and access and ability to do that now. And, you know, we reached high and far to be able to build airplanes and go places and do crazy things and trying to go to Mars now. It's like, you know, it's in our bones as human beings, though, to like take things as far as we can. So what kind of mindset does it take, or value or goal does it take to put yourself back in that place where that is enough?
We've always been explorers to some extent.
Thank God for America, you know, that we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, so we've always, in fact, there were some Italians that went over with some boats.
Was there? Well, they brought the wine, right?
You may be familiar with with some of the Italian explorers.
Actually, my dad's side of the family is Sicily.
Oh, I love Sicily.
I know. I went to Taormina for the first time, and it was like,
I'm not Sicilian.
And
yet I'll say that Sicily is my favorite region in Italy.
The most adorable town ever.
Beautiful,
anyway,
absolutely beautiful.
If you don't know, you
gotta
should figure it out.
You gotta go to Taormina. But
he said it a little better.
A little bit. So I would say that we've always been explorers. So that's not, in my reading of history, a good explanation for why now we're incapable of retaining that spirit.
Fair.
While also retaining community, values, family, because people did that for thousands of years while sailing the seas anyway. So I think that and to be honest, I don't think we have that many choices. I'm a strong believer that it is the illusion of choice that we have. Because...
What do you mean by that?
Well, all these options that we have, for example, in dating, are...
You don't have these options
not
now?
real. No, what I mean is that they're not actually real, because assuming you're someone that is setting out to have a monogamous relationship and you want to have a traditional monogamous relationship, you want to be with one person forever, you know, till death do us part. You can only be with one person. So I've always said, if you go out with 10 people, 9 of those people will not be for you. If you go out with 100 people, 99 will not be for you. You haven't expanded your options. You've expanded the amount of people with which it won't work. And so an option is, by nature of the word, something I could also have.
So you're implying that there is that one person. So just more doesn't mean there's more options.
No, it's just more distractions, more disillusionments, more heartbreaks, more situationships. But this wasn't actually an option. There is one person that you're going to end up with if you're seeking that. And so everyone else along the way wasn't an option. It was an obstacle. And so
or an education.
Or an education. Yeah, I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with experiencing and trying and discovering. But my point is simply that the culture of infinite option and infinite choice harms us more than it helps us. I mean, it
kind of feeds the ego more.
Yeah, right? And it just confuses you, and you can't focus on any particular thing, and everything that you have seems less shiny.
Yeah.
You're always looking around.
The thief of joy. So true.
Looking over your shoulder for something better. Nobody did this before. I mean, obviously, relationships failed and triumphed for different reasons since the beginning of time. But, my grandfather married one of the, 13 women in his village. And that's it. And they were together their entire lives.
So it's a choice then. So you're saying the person that you're with is a choice, or are you saying there's one soulmate out there for you and that it's a matter of finding them? Because when there's only 13 options. No.
I don't believe in soulmates. No. I believe that it's a matter of choice. I believe it's a matter of choice, which is precisely why
Yeah.
it doesn't require this vast exploration.
Oh, it's a matter of choosing to be that person, right? It's a matter of
Yeah.
choosing that life and choosing to be that person that shows up and wants to be with that person and grows and builds, and that's the life that you want.
Yeah, I think that, again, in the individualism of this age, I think that people are so hyper-fixated on finding someone. And so someone that serves my needs, someone that I think is beautiful or handsome, someone that has all the things that will make my life better. And people didn't do this before.
Is that what you want? Do you want to find that one person? Do you feel like having a love of your life is important to you?
It's certainly important, but what I'm saying is that I think it's far more important to focus more on what you're bringing to the table. And I think that's what the videos are about too. I'm not being harsh on men or women. It goes both ways. I'm being harsh on the individual. And I'm saying that make a list of all the things you want in a person. And then, after you've made the list, put your name on the top.
Be it.
And ask yourself, do I have any of these qualities? If you don't, why do you think you deserve that?
Yeah.
So I think we should focus more on being the things that we want.
Right.
And then the things that we want will find us.
Well, because there's then that idea that you can't see it unless you are it. Like we can't see, we can't feel, or like we can't take it in above a level that we're at, right? So if you haven't reached a certain level of kindness or empathy or success or whatever the things are that are important, like you can't really see it in someone else. Or even just like, let's say the simple one, like feeling attractive enough, let's say. And if someone can tell you all day that you're the most beautiful, attractive person, and if you don't believe it, you can't hear them. Yeah. So when you become the list, then all of a sudden there's so many more candidates, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, there should be.
Or
at least you should be able to hear them. Yeah. And essentially, you also don't need them as much either, which is also kind of a little bit of a paradox.
Yeah, I think what I'm saying exactly is that.
Damn paradox. There's so many of these flip sides to things.
Yeah. I love the point you just made because it's true. Being a more whole person expands you to more people, but actually you can make it work with just about anyone.
Right.
Because
I've heard that before too.
People that are broken, and we're all broken in some ways, but people that are not working on themselves, not improving themselves, not embodying the qualities they want from someone else, they're always looking for somebody else to be those things. Whereas I believe strongly that, especially in the dynamic of a man and a woman in a traditional heterosexual monogamous relationship, I think that in that dynamic, a man has so much intrinsic power to create the world he wants in his family. And I think that if a man is responsible and strong and kind and hardworking and disciplined, I think he will inspire whoever he's with to be whatever it is that he wants, which is, I think, speaking for men, if I can speak for all the men in the world, I think men want loyalty, peace, gentleness, respect. Men, the dream of every man is George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life.
Tell me more.
So,
I haven't seen this.
Oh,
but I'm going to write this down.
This is a Christmas classic. It's a black and white movie. It's a beautiful movie. Jimmy Stewart is the main is the actor. It's like, I think it's 1946.
But this is what every woman wants to know right now.
George Bailey, one of my favorite characters in all of cinema. I can't wait for Christmas time. I'm going to go watch it at the IFC Theater. They always show it in New York City. It's a classic. It's a Christmas classic. George Bailey marries this girl from his town, and in so many ways, his life has not gone the way he wanted it to go. He had dreams, and life kept on trampling on them. But he was always a good man. He was always kind. He was always helping people. And he has this wife, Mary, who is beautiful and could be with anybody in town, and the rich guy that went on to New York City wanted her, and she ends up with poor George Bailey, and his life is falling apart, and his house is not that nice, and his car is old, and she loves George Bailey. Oh, she just adores George Bailey. And I think that because she saw what George really was, aside from these other things, and I think that a man who exhibits qualities that are worthy of respect will in fact be respected.
Yeah.
Now, okay, will there always be women who don't care who you are, they just care, what you're driving? Sure, there's always people that are materialistic, there's always people that, but you don't want them, right? So theoretically, that's not who you want to be with, right? So you will find someone good and someone who respects you and someone who adores you and someone who loves you and someone who's there for you if you exhibit the qualities that deserve those qualities. And so I think we ought to be like George Bailey, which is, you might not have the best car, you might not have the best job, your life maybe didn't go exactly as you dreamed, but anybody can be good, anybody can be generous, anybody can be respectful, anybody can be loving, anybody can be committed to their family, to their friends, and you're going to find somebody who loves that about you.
And just loves you.
And loves you.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that feels like more unconditional love, right? That feels a little bit more whatever that is, which I think there's always some conditions on love, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be. They're
To
almost
some
like
extent.
they're like ways to teach someone how to love you, right? Like a little bit, some of those. But when you were talking about how she saw him and that she could see him, it makes me think about what you have observed as far as like, I believe there's totally a difference between men and women, not just from the XXXY chromosome standpoint, but I believe that the real next phase of human beings is when it's not patriarchy, matriarchy, it's not men versus women or this do that, it's not competition, it's actually when men and women come together and they're able to see, respect, honor, and cultivate each other's inherent nature and skills, which are different. And I'm curious what you think those are.
First of all, I agree with what you just said, and we've practiced this vision of companionship for centuries. It's called marriage. I mean, it was supposed to be, again, the roots of marriage were that it was a sacred bond. It was a coming together to form one. So there was a unification process. And for those who were religious, that unification was also seen as spiritual. I mean, that God is uniting you. And so it had nothing to do with patriarchy, matriarchy, higher, lower. So to the extent that people have always, in one way or another, ruined a good thing, that's just human nature. But the intention of companionship should always be to become one. And when you play on a team, I don't know, basketball, it would make it easy. You got the center, you got the forwards, you got the guards. Okay, Shaq is 7'1", 270, and Kobe was 6'6", and whatever he was. Like, you bring different gifts, you bring different roles for the purpose of winning the championship, right? So you don't put 5 Shaqs out there, and you don't put 5 Kobes out there, and we understand this in every aspect of life, yet it's become somehow controversial to understand that men and women come to the world with different gifts and different qualities and different things that they bring to the table. And that's the beauty of a partnership, is that we all excel at different things. And I think that some of the things that we excel at differently are obvious. I mean, they're physically obvious. Men are typically stronger.
No, they're not better drivers. That's not actually true.
Well,
okay.
I think you are the exception. You're an exceptional
There's a few
woman.
of us, but
No, I'm not gonna say that. But so Italians though are the best parkers. That's for sure.
I can parallel park really well, though.
Can you? Okay.
Pulling in the stall, just like, I'm like, this isn't normal for me.
I imagine you can do things with vehicles that I've never seen. So so you are in fact exceptional. But no, back to the point. I think men bring their gifts into the world.
What are those? What do you think men do? What do you think is something that you wish every woman would be like, look, men are just great at this. Just let us do it.
I think men...
Without making a joke about the garbage or something like that.
I think men are inherently, again, in their best state, are inherently self-sacrificing. And, you know, we often talk about how, well, men keeps too much in and they don't express their emotions enough and they don't cry enough. And to some extent that's true. But I'm going to now respond to that and say that within reason, within moderation, all things are good. Extremes are always bad. You can't do too much of anything. And I think that there is something about the way a man represses his emotions that was historically necessary.
Yeah,
My father couldn't have done what he did if he was just complaining all the time, or if he was just talking about how sad he is.
Right, or like actually expressing how hard things were, or physically exhausting.
It would
or
crush everyone
stressful
around
to
him.
like hold the house up with financially. Like that nobody wants to hear that.
No. My grandfather, who again I never had the pleasure of meeting, worked 18-hour shifts. Right. He worked in a chemical factory.
Right.
And when he came home, he didn't come home and say, "Woe is me." He did what he had to do.
Emotional stability.
He did what he had to do. And I don't think that that's emotional repression. I think it's emotional stability. Now, of course, we've evolved to some extent, and there are moments where I think men should express themselves and have a heart-to-heart with their wives, and I'm sure that they do and that they always did. I don't think my grandfather wasn't talking to my grandmother.
Right, but this wasn't about going to work and being like, I need a mental health day today. Like this isn't like an abundance of that kind of thing, or it's there is definitely because they definitely say that for a woman to feel safe, she needs to be able to relax, and if she doesn't feel like she can relax, then that's not safety. And if a man is emotionally unstable, then how can a woman relax when then you feel like, oh wow, I have to be this person now. And that takes you out of your feminine. What do you think? What about women? What have you observed? What do you think women's superpowers are?
At their best, I think a woman has a capacity for sweetness, for gentleness, for care that men don't possess so naturally. Mm-hmm. We all have components of all these things. Mm-hmm. We all have the capacity to have any of these qualities. But I think women are wonderful caretakers, meaning caregivers. The exchange there makes sense, right? So, for example, again, I wasn't there, but I'm creating this scene in my mind. So my grandfather's out, working all night and all day, and when he comes home, he finds love, he finds peace, he finds softness, he finds care in the form of my grandmother, providing that in whatever that looked like. Maybe it was a meal. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was just, a hand on the back or whatever. I'm just imagining these moments that I didn't live through. All I heard was that they loved each other dearly. And so I imagine that they were great friends and they took care of each other in the ways that they needed to. And I think that women, from the perspective of a man, at their finest, are like Mary Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life, like my grandmother. Mm-hmm. They are a form of support. Yeah. They're a support system precisely because, and the reason that works is precisely because the man is not unleashing his burdens on everyone around him. And so there's, in a very interesting and I think unspoken way, a man doesn't have to unleash his burdens and complain and do
Sure, to get the love.
because he's already getting the support and
Otherwise,
the love and
you're
the
just
care.
complaining so that someone will take care of you.
Yeah, so
But
there
they're
was
already there.
there was this like fine dance.
Yeah, that's very true.
That I think was played.
I think there's, and maybe this is a little bit more of, well, this is one of the ways I see it, but I actually see it in additionally to what you just said. But the first thing that comes to mind that feels powerful and productive, maybe that's not a great word, but it does, is that it's almost like the example of your girlfriend that told you that you should just start making videos in your car. It's like a woman is like the intuitive, creative visionary of like, what about this?
Yeah.
And then men build, right?
Yes.
Like, here are the tools. Here's the phone, here's the car, here's the idea, and then you go do it. And I think that if men were able to see women for this unquantifiable, unprovable psychic skill to just get it and know and see your heart and see you, be the, what's her name from the movie?
Mary Bailey.
Mary. To be Mary and just see him for who he is, like beyond the stuff that's evidence, right? Like, it's just like, he didn't go like build some massive company and have the fancy car and do the, like, you'd hope that a great person would get to, no, it's just like she saw him and like the love there and who he was. But in the situation with your ex-girlfriend that told you, she saw that. She saw you and she gave you the idea. Like, she was like, oh, what about this? And so I think that if men were able to trust women in that way, to be able to just go, you shouldn't hire him. No, I don't know, I just don't get a good feeling. Then you go, fucking done. You're like, honestly, that's better than a resume for me. That's better than a resume because you see what I don't see.
Yes, I agree.
From an intuitive standpoint. And then if a woman would go, instead of thinking that she could do something better, let him go build it. Like, let him go do that. Stay in your feminine, stay in your like psychic sort of like intuitive space of flowing. And because like when you get really into the flow, like, I mean, I said to you in your letter, like, things happen really fast. And I think that a woman can really help that along because they see what a lot of times I don't think men are as tuned into seeing.
I agree. I agree that we see different things for sure. And I would say, and I've experienced this in my own life, as you mentioned, and I'll get into that in a second, but generally, I agree that a great quality that women naturally have is that they are excellent advisors. And in fact, I think in every strong relationship between a man and a woman, even if it may seem externally that the man is making the decisions, or even in these traditional households, where we've been taught to believe that these women were just like shrinking in the corner and men were just devouring them. These women were highly respected, and in fact, I mean, when you look at again a traditional Italian household, the woman is not inconsequential. I mean. Everyone
She's
talks,
a strong figure.
In fact, everyone seems to know more about Italian moms and grandmas than Italian dads and grandmas. So, and these are highly traditional and ancient cultural values. And so the reality is that in a solid relationship, men should absolutely be seeking guidance from the woman, because the woman is by nature an advisor, I think, is wise, it has intuition. And in my case, in fact, I was dating a woman who works in the social media space. She's a business coach online. And one day, seeing how much I hated my job.
Have you quit your job, by the way? We just need to know how much we can trash it at this point.
Not entirely, but we can trash it. It's fine. It's kind of like I'm too much of a paranoid Italian to just completely take the leap. But I'm winding down, certainly. I'm doing a lot.
Closing out a lot of those cases and
way less legal briefs and way more funny videos. But
more sweatshirts in the car than suits in the office.
Sweatshirts. Way more.
We love this.
Yeah, absolutely. But she said to me, this woman that I was dating, she said to me, why don't you try TikTok. Why don't you try doing a video? Just go on there and say whatever you want. Just do it. Pretend you're talking with your friends. And so I did just that. I went into my car.
How many people are on your TikTok? I've never been on TikTok in my life, so I obviously found you on Instagram. So
yeah, so TikTok blew up. I started like around March, and it almost immediately went viral.
Wow.
And now I have like 2.5 million.
Oh wow.
And then on Instagram, I came onto Instagram like in July.
I'm pretty sure I followed you immediately. I don't know.
And I'm at 1.9 million.
That's crazy.
In like 4 months.
I think I literally just saw it at 1.8, so that's wild.
Yeah, it went 1.9 last night. We went up another. It just, I don't know what's going on, but people like to see what I have to say. I don't know. And I hope that now they're also going to start liking to read what I have to write. My dream would be that someday I could be seen as a writer who used to be on social media. Like, oh, did you know that author started off with some little videos once? So, yeah, I mean, obviously this has been a tremendous stroke of luck or just good fortune or just a blessing that through this very unexpected means I'm now getting to do what I want to do. But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't listen to a woman.
What have you not listened to a woman say that? Is there like a thought that comes to mind of like, I should have listened to her?
Can I think of a time that I didn't listen to a woman and I regretted it? Probably my mother, when she said, "Don't be a lawyer." So, no.
Well, there you go. You literally had a woman tell you what job to do and what not to do, and they're both accurate.
Exactly. The 2 times women have discussed a career path was women. Actually, in fact, no, now that I mention it, all my aunts in Italy are like, "Oh, no, don't be a lawyer. You like to write."
Oh,
No, Davide, what's the matter with you? You like to write. Don't do that. That's not for you. And I didn't, and I learned the hard way. After 14 years of law, I know for sure it's not for me. So this better work out. Because if this doesn't work out and I got to go back, it's not going to be good for me. But so I hope this all works out for me. But yeah, so interestingly enough,
all signs point yes.
Interestingly enough, the 2 different pieces of advice that I got from women when it comes to my path in life. When I didn't listen, I suffered, and when I listened, I found a blessing. So
like insanely immediate speed of return of agreeing to the flow.
Yeah.
It's
imperative that we listen to women. Is the conclusion of this story.
So should women listen to men though?
Oh yes, there's times that men also have some usefulness.
Some. Just kidding. That's true.
I guess I have to give that more thought. In what aspects of life are men particularly equipped to give good advice? I don't know. In the advice game, let's just keep it to women. Get yourself a female therapist. Get yourself a female accountant. Get yourself a female anything that is advice driven. Just hire women. Yeah. If I ever work with like a marketing team or something, or I'm gonna just hire women to just handle all the advice. Just tell me what to do.
That someday, some woman, some wife will be. You will know that is the most highest counsel you could have possibly found. What are you looking for? Like, are you actually looking for someone to do life with, or is this a sort of passive in your pursuit?
No, I certainly want to have...
The women out there need to know.
Yes, they're so desperate to know this. I certainly want to be with someone. Am I looking? Not particularly hard, because now I'm incredibly busy. I can't believe how busy I am. I thought I was busy as a lawyer. It turns out, I always thought I was really lazy because I was doing something that I hated.
And so you didn't want to do it, so you kind of felt like you were pushing against it all the time.
I would get it done and do a good job. To all my former clients, we did a good job.
Yeah.
My heart wasn't there, and so I would just dread it and get through it, and I always assumed, I guess I'm not a hard worker. Now that I'm doing what I enjoy doing, I'm doing this all the time. I'm constantly working at it, writing, thinking of ideas, drafting things, rework. So, suddenly I have ambitions and I'm trying to accomplish things.
Would you say that you have even more energy?
Oh, so much more energy. And so I'm very clearly in a season of life where I'm building something important.
This is what men do.
Right. And I mean, a marriage is something important to build too, but it's going to be kind of hard for me right now. And by the way, I'm confident that this moment is not going to last very long. I'm not going to be here building this for 11 years. I think, but I think right now is a critical time where I have to put my foot on the accelerator.
Yeah.
Like the little this car metaphor. See, like, do I connect with you?
That's good.
So I think right now I need to focus on what I'm doing.
I'm going to want a car metaphor in one of your car jokes, okay? I'm going to hope
for
some
podcast.
level inclusion. Maybe I'll notice, but maybe nobody else will. That would be nice.
I'll do it for you.
That would be nice. Oh,
yeah,
you have said that if you were to take a woman on a date, that you would always drive her home.
Oh yeah, I love to drive.
So would you be insecure if you were to drive me home, let's say, in this abstract scenario?
I would feel very, very observed and seen. I think I would just let you drive, just to avoid me knowing that you're
crippling insecurity.
Yeah, the pressure of knowing you're so much better at driving than I am. I'd be like, this is your thing. Now, so that would be my initial position. But if then you said, no, I really, really would like if you drove. That's it.
Yeah.
Fine.
You'd be like, here's a blindfold. There you go. And just start jerking the wheel a whole bunch. Be like, I was driving so fast, couldn't you tell?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I was slamming against the window. Wow.
Yeah.
That was aggressive. You should have been a race car driver.
I am not
If you can
a
drive in
risk taker.
Positano, say it for me instead.
Positano.
Yeah. Then you can drive anywhere.
Yeah, but I'm not driving with 20 other cars trying to kill me. So like
the road is trying to kill you.
That's true. Yeah. No, look, you're right. Thank you. You've given me confidence. I'm probably way more of an elite driver than I realize.
Or Taormina, which I say wrong.
Taormina. Yeah.
That also challenge.
Yeah, that and New York. So I got New York and Italy in my driving resume. You know what? I can drive you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
See?
I got
Look at that.
this.
Look what I just did for
got
you.
this.
Just gave you the confidence. Where should people go in Italy as a final recommendation of?
Wow.
Because I love Italy.
I love to gatekeep Italy,
You
but now it's social.
You don't want to tell people.
No, it's fine. It just doesn't matter.
It seems like 2 then.
Social media has made no place hidden anymore.
That's right.
I used to go to Italy every year, and for long stretches of time, and there were still pockets where that were relatively tourist free. Now you can't get that. But I guess what I would say, I am, again, and I say this as someone who's not Sicilian, and I think it's important to say because Sicilians are very proud, and so of course they're going to say Sicily, and so I preface by saying I'm not Sicilian, and I think it's overall the most beautiful region of Italy. Like if you gave it a total score, so if you had food, art, climate, natural beauty, whatever, and you put that all together, maybe it wouldn't be number 1 in any of the categories, but the total score is Sicily.
You're a wise man to think like that.
Yeah.
Wise man.
Thank you. That's what people are saying. A few millions.
Yeah. Wisdom at 38, right?
Yeah, 38.
Happy birthday. Thanks everybody for listening to the Pretty Intense podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you heard today and you want to hear more, please click on the subscribe button.